It was supposed to be a quiet night in Elmwood, a forgotten town off the highway where time stood still. The Elmwood Grand Hotel, once a luxury destination in the 1920s, now stood half empty, echoing with whispers of the past. That evening, Detective Laura Pierce checked in, not for rest, but for answers. A series of unexplained disappearances had been reported there over the last 6 months. All victims had one thing in common. They were last seen checking into room 408. Laura signed the register with a calm hand, her badge tucked away beneath her jacket. The clerk, an older man with sunken eyes, slid the key toward her without a word. Room 408. The number almost hummed in the air. When she entered, everything seemed ordinary. A queen-sized bed, floral wallpaper, a flickering lamp. But as she unpacked, she noticed something off. The mirror on the far wall was slightly fogged, as though someone had just breathed on it. She wiped it clean. For a split second, she saw a girl's reflection standing behind her, pale, wide-eyed, dressed in white. But when she turned around, the room was empty. Determined to catch something, Laura set up her voice recorder and night camera before turning off the lights. Around 2:37 a.m., the room temperature dropped sharply. The door creaked open by itself. Then a faint sound, "Help me," the same voice repeated, weaker each time. In the morning, she replayed the recording. The whisper was clear and chilling. But even stranger was what followed, a child's laughter echoing under the static. Laura began digging into old town records. In 1952, a 10-year-old girl named Lila Anderson vanished while staying in room 408 with her parents. They were visiting for her father's business trip, but only the parents checked out. When questioned, they insisted she had wandered off. No trace of Lila was ever found. A retired maid told Laura that after that night, guests began seeing a little girl playing near the window, and anyone who ignored her would wake up with deep scratches on their arms. That night, Laura left the recorder on again. At exactly 3:08 a.m., a loud bang jolted her awake. Her mirror had shattered from the inside. When she got up, her arm was bleeding, 3 thin scratches running from her wrist to her elbow. But the door was locked from the inside. She whispered, "Lila, what do you want?" And faintly, on the cracked mirror, words began to appear, written in condensation, "Find me." The next morning, Laura followed her instincts. She checked the hotel's blueprints and noticed something odd. Between rooms 406 and 410 was a small unmarked area. No access point, no doors. But when she inspected the hallway, she felt a hollow sound beneath her boots. She pried open a loose tile, revealing a hidden staircase leading underneath the hotel. The air was heavy, damp, suffocating. At the bottom, she found a room filled with children's toys, rusted and decayed, and on one of the walls, scratched words, "Lila's room." In that underground space, she discovered a small chest. Inside were photographs of dozens of missing children, and one of them was marked 1952, Lila Anderson. Beside it lay an old tape recorder, still functional. When she pressed play, a man's voice spoke. "They don't listen. They don't care. But she'll stay here with me, forever." It was the voice of the original hotel owner, Mr. Henry Vaughn, a man who vanished in 1953 after being accused of child abduction. Laura returned to room 408 one last time. She laid Lila's photograph on the dresser and whispered, "Lila, I found him. You're free now." The lights flickered. The air grew still. Then a faint giggle echoed, soft, almost thankful. The fog on the mirror cleared, and for the first time, she saw no reflection at all. Just light, a blinding, peaceful light. When the sun rose, room 408 felt warm for the first time in decades. The hotel clerk later told others that after Laura left, the room key disappeared, and no one has ever been able to open that door again. Elmwood Grand was demolished 5 years later. But locals say that sometimes, when the fog rolls in, you can still hear a little girl's laughter echoing where the hotel once stood. And if you listen closely, she whispers, "Thank you, Laura."